Hello students, welcome you all in my channel Victory Zone Siksha Mantra. So today we start from the functional group. Functional groups what are? Functional groups are the specific group of atoms which specify some special chemical properties and on the basis of which there are different types of compounds formed. So that type of compound or that type of functional group which forms a special type of compounds are responsible for some different chemical properties. So these are called functional groups. Okay, here are some functional groups which we are going to study, and this is the column for their representative formula of the specific functional group, and here is the class which that functional group form, and it is the compound representation or compound formula of a representation along with that functional group. Okay, firstly here it begins from the halide. Halide is a functional group and its representation is, here you may see that in each and every functional group we left some place or vacancy, means from this vacant place or vacant position this special functional group attaches to the given main root chain or the main compound. So in all functional group there should be a vacant position by which it attaches to the main compound. So now start from the halide. Halide, it is represented by X, and X means Cl, Bri. What are these? Chlorine, bromine and iodine. So that vacancy with X represents the class which is known as alkyl halide, or here we take an example of chloride. So I write here alkyl chloride, and the compound formula is RCl. R, what is that R? R is R radical. It may be ethyl, methyl, propyl, whatever it would be. So the compound's formula form RCl. Clear? So this represents our halide functional group. Okay, next is hydroxyl. What is hydroxyl? When it represented by OH. Whenever in our main root compound at the end the functional group OH comes, then it forms a new class of compound that is known as alcohol. We have ever heard alcohol so many times. So what is the representation of that alcohol is OH. Clear? The name of that class is alkyl alcohol. Now again the formula of the compound ROH. So this forms the special class of compound ROH, and OH is the hydroxyl functional group. Now next is ether. How ether forms? The representation of ether is vacant position along with oxygen atom, means in the formation of ether or whenever we want to write the formula of ether, we'll have to write oxygen at the middle. So ether attaches to groups in both the sides. So here is the representation of compound ether is R, then ether group functional groups, and again then R, then it forms a whole compound of ether. Again aldehyde. Aldehyde representation is C double bond O and with H. Combinedly we can say it CHO, that is represented by a aldehyde. So this class is aldehyde and the compound formula is RCHO. This represents our aldehyde compound. Next is ketone. What is the representation of ketone? Double bond or double vacancies with C means carbon along with double bond and join that oxygen. So this is the representation of ketone. The class forms which is also known as ketone, and here the compound formation is done by like that R, C, O and R. Here dot represent that R may be different alkyl and methyl, whatever there may be given. So it may be different or it may be same also. Now next is carboxyl. Carboxyl is represented by C vacant position C double bond O and OH means COOH, that is carboxyl. Group is carboxy group and our class is known as carboxylic acid. What is that? Carboxylic acid. Or acids are represented by COOH and R is our ethyl, methyl, whatever it may be, radical. So this represents our carboxylic acid class. Now next is ester. Ester is represented by vacant position C double bond O and again O and R. So this is representation of ester. So ester and its class name is ester and its compound formula is R joined with COOR. This COO represents our class ester. Okay. Now next is acid anhydride. Acid anhydride, it is represented by vacant position C double bond O, then attaches with oxygen along with O and carbon double bond O, then vacant position means this acid anhydride comes at the middle and both the position it attaches with some radical. So this forms the class acid anhydride and the compound formula is represented by R COOCOR. And this class called acid anhydride. Students, firstly, if you want to make notes of this, then please pause this video and note it down in your copies, and whenever you learn it, then practice it by making so many times this formula. Clear? Please practice of these. Suppose you want to practice this acid anhydride. So write this formula or make this formula in copies 2 or 3 or 4 times, and along with this changing R. Change this R again and this R again and makes so many formulas. So you may be you becomes very perfect for writing this kinds of formulas. Now next is amino. Amino is a functional group and it is represented by N vacant position and H means this vacant position, this NH amino group attaches to other radical. So its class name is alkyl amine. This alkyl amine is represented by RNH2. Suppose here it would be methyl. Then what would its name? Methylamine. Suppose this R is ethyl, then its name would be ethylamine. RNH2. Now next is amide. Amide group is represented by vacant position CONH2. So representative agents are for these are CONH2. This represents our class of amide, CONH2. Now name is acetamide and the compound formula is RCONH2. Whenever you see any compound with name CONH2, then you recognize that it is amide group. Okay. Now again nitro. The functional group is nitro group. It is represented by bond NO2. Vacant position NO2. With this vacant position it attaches to the radical. Nitroalkane. Name is nitroalkane. The representation is RNO2. Clear? RNO2. Next is cyanide. Cyanide is represented by vacant position, shade triple bond and nitrogen. Name is alkyl cyanide and it is represented by RCN. Now next is isocyanide. Its inverse we can see that. Inverse of cyanide. So it is very easy to remember this group cyanide. So for isocyanide, write it vacant position with an triple bond and carbon. This class is known as alkyl isocyanide and the formula is RNC. RNC class called alkyl isocyanide. Suppose in place of this R we use methyl, then it is called methyl isocyanide. Suppose this R represents ethyl, then it is called ethyl isocyanide. So, students, here are some functional groups, their representation, their name of the class, and compound formula, how we can write. So, practice this as you well as can, and if you like my video, then please click the thumbnail and share it as well as much. Okay, thank you.